Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the movie Saw VI, also known as Saw 6. So for those of you who don't know, Saw VI is the sixth installment in the Saw franchise and was released in 2009. This movie was actually pretty crazy because the gore was so extreme it actually received an X rating in Spain. Little fun fact there. It was directed by Kevin Gurrett in his directorial debut and written by Patrick Naughton and Marcus Dunstan. It's a sequel to Saw 5 and the sixth installment in the Saw film series. It stars Tobin Bell, Kostas Mandylor, Betsy Russell, Mark Rolston, Peter Outbridge as William Easton, I believe, and Shawnee Smith. And this one is one of the goriest of the series, honestly. It was extremely violent. But it was a good film, It was a good one. And it's one of my favorite of the series, honestly, but I'll get into the review later. Okay, let's get started. Predatory lenders Eddie and Simone are locked in head harnesses with screws aimed at their temples, and have 1 minute to each cut the flesh from their bodies and weigh the scale in their favor to survive. Eddie, who is overweight, slices several chunks of fat from his stomach, but is killed after Simone chops off her arm and tips the scale before the timer expires. This was extremely violent. This was one of the most gory scenes one of the most brutal traps in the entire series, especially in the art. As you probably know by now, are always better versions, in my opinion. But for people who don't like gore, if it's either R or unrated, you probably want to stick with the R rated, the rated version, because unrated is usually gorier. I mean, sometimes I can tell the differences, but the game is Mark Hoffman, who has just escaped from the trap that killed FBI agent Peter Strom. He then uses Strom's severed hand to plant his fingerprints at the scene. The police and FBI agent Dan Erickson investigate alongside FBI agent Lindsay Perez, whose survival was concealed. I knew she was alive in Saw 6. You know how in my last review I said that she died in Saw 5 or Saw 4, I mean, I've seen the movie, so I was like, why is Wikipedia saying that she died? So, yeah, she's definitely alive. Her survival was concealed by Erickson for protection. During Eddie's autopsy, Dr. Hefner reveals that the blade used to cut the puzzle piece from his remains is the same blade used years earlier on Seth Baxter. Perez and Erickson reopen the investigation and analyze the videotape found at the scene. Hoffman arrives at Jill Tuck's clinic and demands 5 envelopes containing photographs of the following game's test subjects from the box left to her and John Kramer's last request. The game involves health insurance executive William Easton and his associates. William Easton is played by Peter Outbridge, whose company's dubious business policy turned down their clients' coverage for medical treatment, one of them being John Kramer. After Hoffman abducts them to an abandoned zoo, William and his janitor Hank are suspended in chains with large metal vices that will crush their body each time they breathe in their oxygen mask. The vice kills Hank. And this is kind of an unfair trap because Hank was a smoker, so of course he's going to lose. And William proceeds to his other 3, and he's also older too, so older people have more trouble breathing. And William proceeds to the other 3 tests to unlock the remaining. The second test is at an aquarium, forces William to save his middle-aged secretary Addie over his file clerk Alan, who hangs to death from a barbed wire noose. And Addie was a diabetic, but she also had a family, and she was old, but she had a family, and Alan really didn't have anyone in their life, but he chose Addie. I would have chosen Alan, honestly, to survive, to let him live, because even though he was like, because he had a lot of life to live, and Addie was older and diabetic, so she probably didn't have as much time to live. Even though she had like a family and everything, Alan was, I mean, he didn't really have like too many family or friends, but or any at all. I don't know. Well, maybe I would have chosen Addie. I don't know. It's a tough decision. At the boiler room, William Harness releases his lawyer Debbie, who attacks him to retrieve a key inside his body and unlock a spear gun attached to her harness. He fights her off until the device kills her. William's final test involves the six sub sub subordinates chained to a rotating roundabout, also known as the shotgun carousel, which is one of the most creative traps of the series, but also one of the most scary, where he's only able to save two of them from a mounted shotgun. The game is viewed by Mother Tara with her teenage son Brent and news journalist Pamela Jenkins from two opposite animal enclosures below the observation room. During the game, Hoffman is called away by Erickson to the audio lab after obtaining the videotape. Erickson, now aware of Strom's demise, confronts Hoffman after discovering the abnormalities found in Strom's fingerprints at the time of his death. When Hoffman's voice is unscrambled from the tape, he kills Erickson, Perez, and a technician to avoid being caught. Hoffman returns to the observation room. So yeah, Perez survived saw all the rest of the earlier Saw movies, and she even survived the Billy puppet shards to the face, but she dies for real in this movie when Hoffman stabs her in the gut many times. Pretty brutal stuff. Kind of painful to watch. Hoffman returns to the observation room and finds the letter he wrote to Amanda Young, who indirectly instigated Cecil Adams' robbery at Jill's clinic that resulted in her miscarriage. Hoffman also uses knowledge to blackmail Amanda into killing Dr. Lindenlon. The letter was found by Pamela and given to Jill, who then uses it to ambush Hoffman. Jill, who had the remaining contents from her box, including a 6 envelope containing Hoffman's photo, restrains him and locks a modified reverse bear trap to his head, posthumously fulfilling John's will to test Hoffman after his death. William reaches the end of his path and enters the cage, where he reunites with Pamela, who is his sister. He is confronted by Tara and Brent, the widow and son of Harold Abbott, a former client who succumbed to his heart disease after William denied his medical request. John's videotape informs Tara to decide William's fate by using the lever in her cell connecting to tanks of hydrofluoric acid from each cage. As William and Pamela try to persuade the family, an enraged Brent pulls the lever after Tara can't do it, and releasing a platform of needles that kills William by injecting acid into his body, melting him like a gooey sleeping bag filled with marshmallows, if you want a visual. Because that's pretty gory stuff. Because he like literally melted in half, and it was pretty crazy. Like, it was like almost like so much gore. Oh my gosh. So brutal, man. After Jill leaves, Hoffman breaks his wrist to free himself and gets out of the trap just as it activates, ripping open his right cheek in the process, as the movie ends. So yeah, I would have forgiven William, because, he was just doing his job. But, obviously Brent, who was played actually by Devin Bostic, who played Roderick Heffley in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules, and the other Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies. I would have forgiven William, because he was just doing his job. But, I understand the anger. So maybe I wouldn't have killed him. I mean, I probably wouldn't have, but, you never know. It's hard losing a father. Or any parent or family or friend or pet. But, I probably would have forgiven him. I probably would have been more like Tara. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't bring myself to kill him. But, Brent thought differently. So yeah, that was Saw 6, and this is honestly one of my favorite episodes. Next time I will be reviewing Saw 3D and Jigsaw, which are some of my least favorite of the series. But then we'll be going on to Spiral and Saw X, which are better. But Saw 3D and Jigsaw are definitely the worst of the series. This one is actually pretty good though. This is one of my favorite of the series. But I think I liked it better than Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 5, Saw 7 definitely, Saw 8 definitely, Spiral probably, Saw X maybe, and I don't know, the first Saw was good too. But I'd say my absolute favorite of the series, the one I'm probably going to give a 5 out of 5, is Saw 4. Saw 4 is my favorite of the series. Definitely, for sure. Although Saw X is probably a close second. But Saw 4 was definitely the best of the series. I really like Saw 4. Although Saw X was really good too. Saw 4 was definitely my favorite of the series. I give them both probably 5 out of 5. Maybe Saw X actually 4.5 out of 5. 4.5. And this one I give maybe a 4 out of 5 or 4.5. It was pretty good. I mean, I really liked it, but I understand why it might be too gory for some people. It's pretty intense stuff. The traps, this movie had some of the most brutal traps in the whole Saw series. Although Saw 4, I think I like Saw 4 not only because of the story, but also because it had the best traps, and it was the goriest of the series. So I think that's maybe why I like Saw 4, because I usually like gore. But I also like story, and I thought Saw 4 had the best story. So yeah. I know a lot of people say Saw 6 is their favorite, the one I'm currently reviewing. But honestly, I like Saw 4 better. I'd say Saw 4 is my favorite of the series. Saw 6 is maybe in top 3 or 4. Maybe it's my top, or my third favorite or fourth favorite. I don't know. Actually, I think it's my third favorite of the series. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with third. Maybe fourth. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say fourth. I'd say my top 3 are Saw 4, then Saw X, then the original Saw, and then I'd say Saw VI. So Saw VI would be my fourth favorite, I believe. But the first Saw is definitely top 3, because that one's a classic. It's hard to beat the classics, although Saw 4 and Saw X were a little bit better. But don't get me wrong, the original Saw is very good. So it's my favorite, one of my favorites of the Saw series. Is definitely in the top 3, which is really saying something, because there's nine. There's actually 10 of those Saw movies. But yeah, next I will be reviewing one of the worst, aka Saw the Final Chapter, which is one of my least favorite of the series. But I think my least favorite is Jigsaw, and after that I'll be reviewing my least favorite Jigsaw. But yeah, Saw 3D is next, aka Saw VII, aka Saw the Final Chapter, aka Saw 7, and then I'll see you guys next time for that one. And after that, I will be reviewing Jigsaw, which is also pretty bad. I'd say Jigsaw is the worst of the series, honestly, but Spiral was okay. Spiral was okay, but Saw X was great. But I'll see you guys next time for Saw the Final Chapter, aka Saw 3D. Bye.